The message you were meant to see. Stop. Don't scroll. Stay here. Because this wasn't random. Pause. You didn't land here by accident. Out of everything you could be doing right now, you're here. Reading this. Stop right here. And that means something. Pause. Because some moments don't feel important at first. But later, you realize they changed everything. Stop. This might be one of those moments. Pause. There's a message. Not loud. Not obvious. But real. Stop right here. Something you've been overlooking. Something you've been delaying. Something you've been telling yourself. I'll deal with it later. Pause. But later keeps getting pushed further away. Stop. Think about it honestly. How many times have you seen something important and ignored it? Pause. Not because it didn't matter, but because it felt easier to wait. Stop right here. And waiting feels safe. Pause. But it also creates distance. Distance from clarity. Distance from action. Distance from what actually matters. Stop. Because the longer something is delayed, the heavier it becomes. Pause. Not outside. Inside. Stop right here. Unfinished thoughts. Unanswered questions. Unmade decisions. Pause. They stay. Quietly. In the background. Stop. And over time, they build pressure. Pause. Until one moment, you can't ignore them anymore. Stop right here. This might be that moment. Pause. Not forced. Not dramatic. Stop. Just clear. Pause. Because sometimes, what we need is not more time. It's attention. Stop right here. Attention to what we already know. Pause. The decision we've been avoiding. The truth we've been postponing. Stop. Because deep down, you already know what this is about. Pause. You just haven't acted on it yet. Stop right here. And that's where everything changes. Pause. Not when something new appears, but when you finally respond to what's already there. Stop. Ask yourself honestly. What have I been putting off that actually matters? Pause. Because that answer is your starting point. Stop right here. Because once you acknowledge it, you create movement. Pause. Movement creates direction. Direction creates progress. Stop. And progress changes everything. Pause. Not instantly. Not dramatically. Stop right here. But consistently. Pause. Because action, even small action, breaks delay. Stop. And breaking delay creates momentum. Pause. And that's where transformation begins. Stop right here. Not from pressure. Not from urgency. Pause. But from clarity. Stop. Clarity about what matters. Clarity about what needs to be done. Pause. And right now, you're closer to that clarity than before. Stop right here. Because you stopped. You didn't scroll. Pause. You stayed. Stop. And that matters. Pause. Because awareness begins in moments like this. Stop right here. And once awareness begins, everything starts to shift. Pause. Slowly. Quietly. But powerfully. Stop. And from here, what you choose next is what defines everything after. If this message resonates with you and you would like to support this work, you may notice a QR code on your screen, along with a link in the description and pinned comment. We are currently working toward a weekly goal of $3,000 to support a meaningful community initiative. Some may choose to contribute $20. Others $50. Some $100. And those who are able, even $500. Every contribution helps move this forward. And if contributing isn't possible right now, sharing this message with others can still make a meaningful difference. Part 2. What the letter was really saying. Stop. Don't scroll. Stay here. Because this is where it starts making sense. Pause. In Part 1, you felt it. Something important. Something you've been delaying. Something you haven't fully faced yet. Stop right here. But now, you're about to understand something deeper. It's not just about reading the message. Pause. It's about understanding it. Stop. Because not every message is direct. Some are layered. Some say one thing, but mean something else. Pause. And this feels like one of those. Stop right here. Think about it. There are moments when you see something clearly, but still don't act on it. Pause. Not because you don't understand, but because you're not ready to accept it. Stop. And that's the difference. Understanding and acceptance. Pause. Because understanding is easy. Acceptance is not. Stop right here. And this message, this letter you're facing right now, it's pushing you toward acceptance. Pause. Not forcing you. Not pressuring you. Stop. But revealing something. Pause. Something you've been aware of, but haven't fully acknowledged. Stop right here. Think honestly. What is this really about? Pause. Not on the surface, but deeper. Stop. Is it a decision you've been delaying? A situation you've been avoiding? A truth you've been pushing aside? Pause. Because the message is not random. Stop right here. It connects to something real. Something present. Something active in your life right now. Pause. And that's why it feels important. Stop. Because it is. Pause. But importance doesn't always create action. Stop right here. That's where most people stay stuck. They understand. But they don't move. Pause. They see. But they don't act. Stop. And over time, that creates pressure. Pause. Not from outside. From within. Stop right here. Because something unresolved doesn't disappear. Pause. It stays. Waiting. Stop. Waiting for you to respond. Pause. And that's what this moment is. Stop right here. A response point. Pause. Not forced. Not urgent. Stop. But real. Pause. Because once you see something clearly, you're responsible for it. Stop right here. Responsible for what you do next. Pause. Do you continue delaying? Or do you act? Stop. That's the real message. Pause. Not the words, but the direction. Stop right here. The direction it's pointing you toward. Pause. Because messages like this don't exist on their own. They connect to something already happening. Stop. And right now, you're starting to see that connection. Pause. Clearly. Stop right here. And clarity leads to a decision. Pause. Because once something becomes clear, it demands movement. Stop. Not immediately. Not dramatically. Pause. But eventually. Stop right here. Because staying still after clarity creates conflict. Pause. Moving forward creates resolution. Stop. And that's the shift you're approaching. Pause. Not forced, but inevitable. Stop right here. Because once you understand the message, you can't ignore it anymore. Pause. And that's where everything begins to change. If this message resonates with you and you would like to support this work, you may notice a QR code on your screen, along with a link in the description and pinned comment. We are currently working toward a weekly goal of $3,000 to support a meaningful community initiative. Some may choose to contribute $20. Others $50. Some $100. And those who are able, even $500. Every contribution helps move this forward. And if contributing isn't possible right now, sharing this message with others can still make a meaningful difference. Part 3: The Truth Hidden Between the Lines. Stop. Don't scroll. Stay here. Because this is where the message becomes real. Pause. In Part 2, you understood something. It wasn't just about reading the letter. It was about what it actually meant. Stop right here. But now, you're about to see something deeper. Not what was written, but what was hidden. Pause. Because sometimes, the most important part of a message is not in the words. Stop. It's in what those words are pointing toward. Pause. Think about that. A message can say one thing, but carry something much bigger underneath. Stop right here. And that's what this is. Pause. There's something between the lines. Something not directly said. Stop. But clearly present. Pause. And now, you're starting to feel it. Stop right here. That sense. That this is about more than it seems. Pause. Because it is. Stop. Think honestly. When you read or hear something important, there's always a moment where it clicks. Pause. Not logically, but internally. Stop right here. That quiet realization. I know what this is really about. Pause. And that's happening right now. Stop. You're not just understanding the message. You're connecting it to something in your life. Pause. Something specific. Stop right here. Maybe it's a situation, a decision, a person. Pause. Something you've been thinking about, but not fully addressing. Stop. And this message is bringing it forward. Pause. Not creating it. Revealing it. Stop right here. Because it was already there. Pause. Waiting. Stop. Waiting for clarity. Pause. And now, that clarity is forming. Stop right here. Because hidden truth always surfaces eventually. Pause. Not immediately. Not forcefully. Stop. But steadily. Pause. Until it becomes impossible to ignore. Stop right here. And that's where you are now. Pause. At the point where it's no longer just a thought. Stop. It's understanding. Pause. Understanding what's been happening. Understanding what it means. Stop right here. And most importantly, understanding what needs to change. Pause. Because hidden truth always leads to action. Stop. Not instantly, but inevitably. Pause. Because once you see something clearly, you can't go back to uncertainty. Stop right here. And that's what's happening. Pause. The uncertainty is fading. Stop. The confusion is reducing. Pause. And something else is taking its place. Stop right here. Clarity. Pause. And clarity changes everything. Stop. Because now, you're not just thinking. You're realizing. Pause. and realization creates movement. Stop right here. Movement toward resolution. Movement toward decision. Pause. Movement toward something different. Stop. Because now you know enough to move forward. Pause. Not everything, but enough. Stop right here. And that's all you need. Pause. Because action doesn't require perfect clarity. Stop. It requires honest clarity. Pause. And that's what you have now. Stop right here. So the question is no longer, what does this mean? Pause. The question is, what am I going to do with this understanding? Stop. Because that answer is what changes everything next. If this message resonates with you and you would like to support this work, you may notice a QR code on your screen, along with a link in the description and pinned comment. We are currently working toward a weekly goal of $3,000 to support a meaningful community initiative. Some may choose to contribute $20, others $50, some $100, and those who are able, even $500. Every contribution helps move this forward. And if contributing isn't possible right now, sharing this message with others can still make a meaningful difference. Part 4: The meaning you can no longer ignore. Stop. Don't scroll. Stay here. Because this is where everything becomes direct. Pause. In Part 3, you felt it. The hidden truth. The message behind the words. Stop right here. But now, there's no more distance. No more layers. Pause. Because the meaning is right in front of you. Stop. Not hidden anymore. Not unclear. Pause. Clear. Direct. Real. Stop right here. Think about everything again. But this time, don't soften it. Pause. Don't explain it away. Don't make it easier than it is. Stop. Just see it. Pause. Because now, you can. Stop right here. The message wasn't complicated. It wasn't confusing. Pause. It was simple. Stop. You just weren't ready to accept it before. Pause. And that's the truth. Stop right here. Because sometimes we delay understanding. Not because it's unclear, but because it's uncomfortable. Pause. And this was uncomfortable. Stop. Because it pointed to something real. Something present. Something that requires a decision. Pause. And decisions are never easy when they matter. Stop right here. But now, you've reached the point where you can't ignore it. Pause. Because once meaning becomes clear, it demands a response. Stop. Not from pressure. Not from fear. Pause. From truth. Stop right here. And truth doesn't negotiate. Pause. It doesn't adjust itself to fit comfort. Stop. It stays the same. Pause. And now, you see it as it is. Stop right here. The situation. The reality. The direction it's leading you toward. Pause. It all makes sense now. Stop. Not emotionally, but logically. Pause. And that's important. Stop right here. Because logic removes confusion. Pause. It replaces maybe with this is what it is. Stop. And that clarity creates pressure. Pause. Not external pressure. Internal. Stop right here. The pressure to act. The pressure to respond. The pressure to move forward. Pause. Because staying still now feels wrong. Stop. Because you know too much to stay where you are. Pause. And that's the shift. Stop right here. From uncertainty to awareness. Pause. From awareness to decision. Stop. And that decision is approaching. Pause. Not forced. Not rushed. Stop right here. But inevitable. Pause. Because once something is understood, action follows. Stop. It may take time. Pause. But it happens. Stop right here. And right now, you're at the edge of that action. Pause. The point where everything you've realized turns into what you do next. Stop. Because understanding alone is not enough. Pause. It has to become movement. Stop right here. Movement in a direction that aligns with what you now know. Pause. And that direction is becoming clearer. Stop. Because clarity doesn't just show truth. Pause. It shows the path forward. Stop right here. And now, you can see that path. Pause. Not perfectly. Not completely. Stop. But enough. Pause. Enough to take the next step. Stop right here. And that's all that matters. Pause. Because progress doesn't start with certainty. Stop. It starts with clarity. Pause. And you have that now. Stop right here. So the question is no longer, what does this mean? Pause. The question is, am I ready to act on it? Stop. Because that answer is what defines everything next. If this message resonates with you and you would like to support this work, you may notice a QR code on your screen, along with a link in the description and pinned comment. We are currently working toward a weekly goal of $3,000 to support a meaningful community initiative. Some may choose to contribute $20. Others $50. some $100. And those who are able, even $500. Every contribution helps move this forward. And if contributing isn't possible right now, sharing this message with others can still make a meaningful difference. Part 5. The Truth You Can't Unread. Stop. Don't scroll. Stay here. Because this is where everything becomes undeniable. Pause. In Part 4. You saw it. The meaning. The direction. The reality behind everything. Stop right here. But now, there's no space left for doubt. Pause. Because what was unclear is now fully visible. Stop. Not partially. Not vaguely. Pause. Completely. Stop right here. Think about it again. But this time, don't hold back. Pause. Don't soften it. Don't explain it away. Stop. Just accept it. Pause. Because now, you know. Stop right here. The message wasn't complicated. It wasn't hidden. Pause. It was waiting. Stop. Waiting for you to be ready. Pause. And now, you are. Stop right here. That's why it feels different. Pause. Because it's no longer a thought. Stop. It's understanding. Pause. And understanding creates something powerful. Stop right here. It creates a decision. Pause. Because once you see truth clearly, you have two choices. Stop. Ignore it. Or act on it. Pause. But ignoring it now feels impossible. Stop right here. Because awareness doesn't disappear. Pause. It stays. Stop. And it keeps reminding you. Pause. Until you respond. Stop right here. And that's where you are now. Pause. At the point where response becomes necessary. Stop. Not forced. Not rushed. Pause. But real. Stop right here. Because now, you're not guessing. Pause. You're not questioning. Stop. You're not confused. Pause. You're aware. Stop right here. And awareness demands action. Pause. Not immediately. Not dramatically. Stop. But inevitably. Pause. Because once something is understood, it changes how you move. Stop right here. You can't go back to reacting the same way. Pause. You can't go back to accepting the same things. Stop. Because now, you know what it leads to. Pause. And that knowledge changes your direction. Stop right here. Because now, you're not just thinking about it. Pause. You're preparing to act on it. Stop. And that's the turning point. Pause. The moment where everything shifts. Stop right here. Not because something new appeared. Pause. But because you finally accepted what was already there. Stop. And that acceptance is powerful. Pause. Because it removes resistance. Stop right here. It removes delay. Pause. It removes confusion. Stop. And what remains is clarity. Pause. Clear understanding. Clear direction. Clear next step. Stop right here. And that's where everything changes. Pause. Because now, you're not waiting for something to happen. Stop. You're deciding what happens next. Pause. And that decision defines everything after. Stop right here. So now, there's only one question left. Pause. What am I going to do with what I now know? Stop. Because that answer is what changes everything. If this message resonates with you and you would like to support this work, you may notice a QR code on your screen, along with a link in the description and pinned comment. We are currently working toward a weekly goal of $3,000 to support a meaningful community initiative. Some may choose to contribute $20. Others $50. Some $100. And those who are able, even $500. Every contribution helps move this forward. And if contributing isn't right now, sharing this message with others can still make a meaningful difference.